Usually what happens when people are oppressed and suppressed. It's only natural. They will eventually rebel. And that is exactly what happened on this day. In so doing, became the first African American to win a peace song. Sitting on the dock of the bay remains a classic. I'm just going to be quick with that so that YouTube doesn't flag that up. Historic Douglas Theatre in Macon. So Douglas spelled with two S's. So this must be a reference to the famous, America's most famous slave, Frederick Douglass. The song became the first posthumous #1 record on both the Billboard Hot 100 and R&B charts. The album, The Dock of the Bay, was the first posthumous album to reach #1 on the UK album charts in the faraway United Kingdom. Being the second African American is the only person whose parents were enslaved in the United States to obtain a PhD. History. Wow. History. This is Africa, the cradle of mankind's birth, where powerful kingdoms arose with stories of worth. A youth-filled land, the youngest population, with diamonds and cocoa from its fertile foundation, exemplary leaders, their legacy told. Nkrumah, Mandela, their spirits bold. From Johnson Sirleaf's Liberia, where freedom lies, and her first female leader, so wise. Let courage and dreams unite as one for a brighter tomorrow where greatness is spun. In this beautiful, colorful, and friendly domain, greatness awaits, where hopes shall not wane, where tales of triumph weave a tapestry. Welcome to Today in African History. September 9th, the year was 1739. The Stono Rebellion, also known as Cato's Conspiracy or Cato's Rebellion, was a slave revolt that began on this day in 1739 in the colony of South Carolina. It was the largest enslaved rebellion in the southern colonies, with 25 colonists and 35 to 50 Africans killed. The uprising was led by native Africans who were likely from the Central African Kingdom of Congo, as the rebels were Catholic and some spoke Portuguese. The leader of the rebellion, Jemmy, was a literate enslaved man. In some reports, however, he is referred to as Cato and likely was held by the Cato or Cater family who lived near the Ashley River and north of the Stono River. He led 20 other enslaved Congolese who may have been former soldiers in an armed march south from the Stono River. They were bound for Spanish Florida, where successive proclamations had promised freedom for fugitive slaves from British North America. Jemmy and his group recruited nearly 60 fugitive slaves from British North America and killed more than 20 whites before being intercepted and defeated by the South Carolina militia near the Edisto River. Survivors traveled another 30 miles, which is 50 kilometers, before the militia finally defeated them a week later. So, the Stono Rebellion commemorated or remembered on this day, September 9th. It happened in the year 1739. Well, that's usually what happens when people are oppressed and suppressed. It's only natural. They will eventually rebel, and that is exactly what happened on this day in 1739. Next, on this day, the lady pictured here, the smiley, beautiful lady, the year was 1950. Her name is Gwendolyn Brooks. She was awarded the Pulitzer Prize and in so doing became the first African American to win a Pulitzer Prize for her poetry collection, Annie Allen. Her work highlighted the experiences of African Americans in urban America. Gwendolyn Brooks, pictured here, first African American Pulitzer Prize winner in poetry for her collection, Annie Allen. The year was 1941. Otis, a legendary soul singer, songwriter, and musician whose emotive and powerful voice left an indelible mark on the music world, was born. Again, the year was 1941. His song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, remains a classic. I'm just going to be quick with that so that YouTube doesn't flag that up. He's regarded as one of the greatest singers in the history of American popular music and a seminal artist in soul music and rhythm and blues. Nicknamed the King of Soul, Redding's style of singing gained inspiration from the gospel music that preceded that genre. His singing style influenced many other soul artists of the 1960s. Redding was born in Dawson, Georgia, and at the age of 2 moved to Macon. Redding quit school at the age of 15 to support his family, working with Little Richard's backing band, the Upsetters, and by performing in talent shows at the historic Douglas Theatre in Macon. So Douglas spelled with 2 S's. So this must be a reference to the America's most famous slave, Frederick Douglass. In 1958, he joined Johnny Jenkins' band, the Pine Troopers, with whom he toured the southern states as a singer and driver. As an unscheduled appearance on a Stax recording session led to a contract and his first hit single. Guys, go check out my video from yesterday. I did talk about the big break, guys. He had a big break. He was working as a driver as well, but he had a big break, so he kept on perfecting his craft and eventually had his big break. Again, an unscheduled appearance on a Stax recording session led to a contract and his first hit single, These Arms of Mine. The year was in 1962. Shortly before his death in a plane crash, Redding wrote and recorded his iconic Sitting on the Dock of the Bay with Steve Cooper. The song became the first posthumous #1 record on both the Billboard Hot 100 and R&B charts. The album, The Dock of the Bay, was the first posthumous album to reach #1 on the UK album charts in the faraway United Kingdom. Last but not least, this guy is called Carter Godwin Woodson, or Carter G. Woodson. Born on this day in 1875, he passed on April 3rd, 1950. He was an American historian, author, journalist, and the founder of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, ASALH. He was one of the first scholars to study the history of the African diaspora, including African American history. The founder of the Journal of Negro History in 1916, Woodson has been called the father of Black history. In February 1926, he launched the celebration of Negro History Week, the precursor of Black History Month. Woodson was an important figure to the movement of Afrocentrism due to his perspective of placing people of African descent at the center of the study of history and the human experience. Born in Virginia, United States of America, the son of former slaves, Woodson had to put off schooling while he worked in coal mines of West Virginia. He graduated from Berea College and became a teacher and school administrator. Earning graduate degrees at the University of Chicago, Woodson then became the second African American after W.E.B. Du Bois to obtain a PhD degree from Harvard University. Wow. Carter G. Woodson is the only person whose parents were enslaved in the United States to obtain a PhD in history. Wow, history made. Had a PhD in history. The only person whose parents were enslaved in the United States to obtain a PhD in history. So it doesn't matter where you've come from, guys. There's no Black American today who was a direct descendant of slaves. So your parents were not slaves, very likely your grandparents were not slaves. You are in an America that's not as bad as those experienced by your parents and your grandparents and great-grandparents. What are you doing to make your life better? You know, if you're doing something, how hard are you working? How smart are you working? Are you being inspired by people like this? Carter G. Woodson, Otis Redding, Oprah Winfrey. Don't allow people tell you that you cannot do what you want to do. I think if there's any message I'm going to leave you guys today is don't allow anyone tell you you cannot do what you want to do. The people around you who are doing what they want to do, doesn't matter what color they are, you've got a brain, you're a human being. Work hard, work smart, keep improving, and even the sky would not be your limit. Till tomorrow, September 10th. Thanks for dropping by once again. First-time visitors, second, third, fourth-time visitors. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you haven't liked the video, do so. Help our young fledgling channel grow. Thanks again. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.